rush yellow very well, he might end up approaching black from further away than he wants.
Yes, and suddenly he's knocked it through, or he's...
Yeah, if he hits it from the playing side and knocks it through, then he's got to take off back in front of the hoop.
Yeah.
If he hits it from the non-playing side, he might take it out of the hoop and might get a bit of hill.
Yes.
Might end up peeling from 20 degrees or something.
Yep.
I'd much rather have yellow down there and rush peel it.
Yeah, and get the peel over and done with.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we weren't expecting a 2.5-hour game in the first of this best of 5. I guess the players will be having a good tea break after this.
I think Matthew will want to go straight on.
Yeah.
I think Reg will probably just have a quick
So
water
it
and
was
straight
very interesting yesterday, Chris, in the game between Ed and Reg. In all of the games up to the final one, Ed was the one that was pretty keen to get going, and Reg was just being cool. And then in the last game, after Ed had made it 2-2, Reg was the one that was pacing around the lawn, mallet in hand, and really, really looking to get going. And it was quite unusual.
Yep. Yeah, he doesn't get taken to 5 very often. Yeah, this is sort of the position I was talking about. Imagine if you'd have rushed yellow into the peg then. It would have been really quite nasty. Okay, he's managed to get on top of it and nudge it, but he's still going to rush back to the peg from behind the hoop. I just think it's a weaker set of stroke play options. Now, I was watching the infamous Jackson Rover peel at Parkston in 1986 with David Openshaw a couple of weeks ago, where Keith Wiley came on to watch the shot and faulted it not having marked the balls. It could have cost New Zealand the Robertson Shield in '86, but Roger Murfitt finished it off with a nice little finish from 4 back and peg.
Yeah, so the referee hasn't marked the balls here, but she's out.
Yeah, I don't get these watched. This is just a, straightforward shot.
Now Reg just has to engineer a rush towards the peg. So that was an intriguing game of croquet, Chris.
Nice to see both players making errors.
Yep.
Arguably both physical and mental and tactical.
And making some decisions that give you something to talk about as well.
Very much so. Yeah.
And I think probably the highlight for me was the discussion around Reg's decision to shoot with black at the balls on the lower eastern boundary.
Yeah, lots of certainly options that wouldn't be regarded as standard. And yeah, it's nice to see people doing things that are different, and it would be a boring game if we all did the same things all the time.
How does Matt regroup after this?
Well, I think he has to take the positives out of the game. So he's hit in 4th turn in the middle.
Yep.
He's had a break to 4 back during the game. He's had a finishing turn, so he knows he can beat him.
Yes. Yes, he's had an opportunity, hasn't he? Yep.
He has. He's not cold. He's played on the lawn, and he's also seen that Reg looks a little bit uncomfortable.
Yep.
Reg has not been anywhere near as good in this first game as he was yesterday or the day before.
That's right, and when James Death was playing Reg in the quarterfinals, it wasn't until quite late on in in game 3 that James even took croquet.
Absolutely. Remember yesterday, Reg played really, really well. Went 2-0 up. Still got taken to 5.
Yes, yes.
So
yes.
This isn't time for Matthew to panic. He just needs to make sure his error count stays low.
And he, yes, he blobbed hoop 3 twice. Anyway, so first game to first game to Reg, and we will have a break and be back with you when the players come out. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah,
welcome back, everybody. Joined in the commentary booth by Ed Wilson.
G'day, viewers.
Heroic Australian who almost made it through yesterday with a fantastic, epic game against Reg Bamford. So, Ed, we've actually had a bit of action already here. The super shot's gone in.
Yep, and Reg has gone quite a long way north on that one. It's around 19-yard spot, but maybe just half a yard further north than normal. So Matthew will almost definitely be shooting down the line from B-Bulk here.
And he's been shooting very well down at these.
Absolutely, yeah. Smacked a couple of them in the guts against Robbie yesterday. So look, he'll be trying to do the same here. And fifth turn triples have been an extremely good tactic for him thus far in the tournament.
So we were chatting to Matt after his victory yesterday, and he was telling me how he had one eye on your game.
Yep.
Were you doing the same?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. When you've got a fellow countryman and another young gun like Matthew playing, it's always a pleasure to watch any game of croquet. And you know, as amazing as Reg is to watch, he is not the quickest player out there. Well, so you do get a little bit of time in between shots.
We were having some bets on when certain breaks would be executed yesterday. But it was very unfortunate because you played that fantastic peg out just as Matt was winning his game. So
Right.
I hope I didn't destroy the moment for the folks back in America. Focusing on what you were doing.
Look, he's made it to the final. They get a bit of extra action today, so I'm sure they won't be complaining.
Right. They won't. And they had we had a great series of interviews with him afterwards as well. So they definitely got their money's worth.
Very good. Yep. Now a little bit of wind here. You can just see
the
Matthew's
flakes are starting to flutter a bit.
Yep. Yep. In a bit different direction to the rest of the tournament.
Yes, that's right. They're
completely opposite.
Yeah, that's right. It's coming completely the other way around from.
Unfortunately, I'm pretty disoriented in Melbourne, and I have no idea which is south and north here.
If we always go by the croquet courts, then we can't
exactly
be too
right.
far wrong, can we? So there's that amazingly stable stance, and I'm afraid he's missed that.
That took a fair bit of hill there. Yep. You could see it very clearly on the view from up the top here. Took a bit of hill. I'm not sure if it was initially hitting, but definitely one to look for in future shots down the line.
Ed, is the hill the same on this lawn as on the lawn that you were playing on yesterday?
Oh, look, the hill on my lawn yesterday was interesting. I couldn't really predict it over the whole match, and obviously I hit quite hard.
So it doesn't really come into play so much.
Well, from the view I got, they looked to be squirreling a little bit rather than entirely hilling.
Yep. Now, when you talk about squirreling, tell me about that term.
So that's when you can sort of see the ball sort of bouncing from side to side and almost spinning. Possibly off corrugations in the lawn. Or
because there are quite a lot of corrugations, aren't there? The scarification that they've obviously done has left these parallel strips.
Yep. And when you shoot across them or with them, you can get differences. They've been scarified a fair while ago, so look, it could just be a combination of things. But Matt's there seemed to follow a fair hill line. But look, it's been a while since I played on court one here, and wouldn't be able to tell you the exact intricacies of the lawn at the moment. Both Robert and I had a chat after our games yesterday and agreed that the lawns were playing fairly evenly on both court 3 and 4.
Matt had a couple of surprises up at hoop 3 today, though.
Did he?
He had a blob and a poor approach, and it was causing a fair amount of trouble for him up there.
I followed along with some of it on the way here, and unfortunately missed all of the errors apart from Reg's ball off after one. But a little bit of interaction.
Yes,
looks to be a good final.
There was
so
good
far.
interaction. It was good to commentate on, and we were privileged to hear a lot of tactical insight from Chris Clark.
Yep.
And there was a couple of decisions that Reg made that surprised us all.
Okay.
It'll be good to get your thoughts on those later, but we'll have a look at Reg taking this this all-important shot from
Yeah.
the end of A ball now.
So again, with his traditional standing there looking.
Yeah, I mean, there was
processing.
I'll tell you about this bizarre moment in another go after he's played this shot. But we've got a good view here of the trajectory.
Yep.
This will be Blake on the freestanding camera. We can deploy him where we like, Ed. So
Fantastic. I think
you
where
just-
he is right now is about perfect.
Yep, that's right.
Um,
And that is a
That's-
pretty clean hit.
That is in the guts. You saw yellow pop up a fair bit after red made contact with it.
Yep.
So that could indicate a bit of uneven ground on that boundary. But yeah, from here you'd expect after Reg having a fairly clean TP in that game. But I didn't see much of the turn. It was like I saw up to hoop 3 and then arrived and he was pegging
And
out.
he was pegging out, yeah.
So I'm assuming that it was fairly clean.
It was very clean once it started.
Yep.
Yeah. He left himself in an interesting position because as he came through 3, his approach shot to 3 was absolutely plumb in front. So we were speculating as whether he'd actually peel the peelie through forward and then have to peel it back straight away. But he actually put it to the side and then turned it into a delayed. So
yeah. Look, on easy hoops you can consider that, and you know it depends on also the player's mentality, whether they think that they're going to be able to finish the delayed, and Reg Bamford is going to be able to finish the delayed
it's
on most courts.
almost makes no
So,
difference to him, does it? Really,
yeah,
whether it's
exactly right. It's just slightly different ball movements, and you know the shots are relatively the same in their difficulty. Maybe a couple more rushes to hoops, but aside from that, now that's pulled up slightly short on both balls.
on both balls. Yeah, there's still a reasonable cut to
Yeah.
hoop 1 there, isn't there? For
Yeah,
him and
look, maybe slightly under half ball, and that should be nicely in front of hoop 1. Very good at the pace of these shots, Reg. Just hits them nicely at the pace that he wants the front ball to end up where it wants.
and that
Oh,
looks
slightly undercut.
slightly off to the west, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And now that leaves. I mean, we were talking to Matt yesterday afterwards. He said the shot that he really felt he didn't want to have to play was this sideways,
Yep.
3-4 yards out from the side
Yeah.
of the hoop. And
It's a shot that you'll see the premium players in our game are able to play quite well and quite easily when they're in form and have the weight of the lawn. You know, it's a fairly straightforward croquet stroke, playing with a flat mallet.
so one of the things we noticed when you were warming up yesterday that you were doing a fair amount of this, whereas Reg was concentrating a lot on the boundaries. He was really putting it. Oh,
Look at that! So
look
he's
at that.
played down the mallet
Yeah.
with slightly more than a drive there, and just has
I mean, it's an
not got
inexplicable
anything like
shot,
the
really.
ratio.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where he was hoping to rush that afterwards as well.
Yeah.
Like, he's put black very, very deep, so he would have had to run the hoop quite deep with a lot of control to have a rush back to corner 4.
Look at that. You just wouldn't expect that a player of Reg's standard to not have some sort of shot on this.
No,
hoop.
it is a poor shot. Yeah.
All right. So where'd you bury the red here then, Ed?
Gee. This is not my strong suit. I try and get in front of hoops
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
have a bash at them.
Imagine that. Just imagine that something inexplicable
Look,
had happened.
Essex got a bit of work to do either way here. You could go corner 2 and hope that Essex misses and you have a relatively short shot back to partner.
Yep.
But it does mean Essex turn, if he does hit, is slightly easier.
Yes.
So possibly corner 3.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if where Reg is standing is where he's considering, just directly back to partner. And Essex has been shooting well.
Yeah, he's missed. He hasn't actually taken any of.
Sorry. Okay.
Pete Landreeb is
Very
just
good.
in the background, giving us a bit of insight into Reg's preferences.
Yeah,
And,
which
would be that Reg likes to be able to give himself a shot afterwards.
Yep.
And so probably corner 2 then.
Well, no, yeah, behind yellow on the north boundary.
So he'll be going up to the north. Yep.
Yep. So giving himself a 6.5.
But I was going to say though that Matt hasn't made any of the 20+ yard shots that he's been offered in this game.
Okay.
But that just means he's due for one, I guess.
Not necessarily. If he's not hitting well, then he may not continue to hit well.
Okay, so Pete called that completely correctly, and Reg has gone up to the northern boundary.
Hey Edward, good morning.
Peter, g'day.
It might have been handy if Reg played one of those poor hoop approaches that won yesterday.
Well, he had one,
He had
and
one.
look, he's a legend of our game for a reason.
Yeah,
And you don't
phenomenal
become a
all week.
legend of our game by fluffing every hoop approach that you attempt.
The two semis watching here yesterday were, both of them were like scripted matchups. It was fantastic for a spectator from here or afar. But there is a different feel, obviously, because this is a final, and Reg has, just been a couple of ones that haven't quite been as crisp as he was yesterday. So it's the pressure of the final, even for all the wins Reg has got under his belt. He's got a different opponent to deal with.
Yep, and an opponent who's in extremely good form finishing turns. Look, Matthew's been finishing a lot of triples very quickly, very efficiently, which is, a struggle for any player to contest against when you've got someone like Matt who can just take a game from under you extremely quickly.
Yeah, it's a good pace, isn't it? It's good to watch, especially if you...
Yep, it's not something that I've been able to watch a lot of in my career. Someone like Matt, who, it's just a style that I haven't really come across before. Fast and unusual, but extremely effective.
You're a quick player yourself, Edward, too. So it's something the opponent has to deal with. Well, I suppose it's harder actually for a quick player like yourself or Matthew playing someone like Reg or some of the players that are a little more deliberate in their turns.
Look, you've got to take each player as they come. They're going to come quick or slow. Being a good out player is just as important as being a good in player. I know that when I'm off the court, I like to relax as much as I can. Some players like being involved in the game and watching as closely as they can, so that when they come on, they're in the zone.
You got to do what works for you, don't you?
Exactly.
You don't.
Exactly.
A lot of players get told coming through their playing career that sit by yourself, concentrate, watch what your opponent do in case they make it all as a mistake. If you're sitting there,
having a chat,
chat and that
enjoying
works
myself.
For you, then you work out what works. But and you'll know that if you got too relaxed and you weren't quite ready, so you take all that in. But,
look, I know that my technique is best served when great shot.
Great shot.
When I'm relaxed, and each player's different. Reg is certainly one of the ones who enjoys sitting, watching,
and left alone,
and being deliberate when he comes out onto the court. He's not not waiting for anyone, but not letting anyone wait for him. He's out there to do a job. Matthew just looked a bit uncomfortable in the wind just then. Had a couple of lineups at it and went back for a sip of water. Just take a moment, and he's middled the shot. Good on him.
A little bit similar to yesterday. It was quite, benign, and pace seemed okay first up, and then it didn't take long before that wind and the sun came out to change the pace of the lawn.
Yeah,
and you would have noticed.
You might have seen game 2, third turn. I overhit the first 3 croquet strokes and went, this isn't ideal.
Yep.
Underhit the fourth, and
I think we even commented on that. That's how weird. I thought it was the conditions more than anything.
Look, but that's one of the advantages Reg has in being not the quickest. He gets court time, takes court time away from his opponents, which is what Matthew might struggle with slightly here. But look, if he gets a good rush to one, can make one with some freedom, he's probably right to go and get the advantage in the second game.
And then this eastern boundary needs a bit of care. Didn't seem as bad as the eastern boundary on the lawn you played on yesterday. It seemed there a lot of drop off once it got past the midpoint of the court. Whereas this one I think is a little bit truer, but still needs some care.
Definitely, no boundary at Canley should be taken lightly, and obviously taking off pretty much into the corner here. Corner 4 at any venue gets a fair workout with golf croquet, and that's just going to scoot into that dry patch, and he's left himself a rush to hoop 2 that can be cut to 1. Maybe with a third of a ball or a quarter ball.
And he's certainly got the power to just to play this smoothly to get this
absolutely.
One.
Yeah.
Good insight from Chris Clark here earlier, just before I left. There's a few people thinking that the golf croquet tournament played before the Worlds here at Canley, probably wasn't the right thing to do. Hard on the lawns, a lot of lawn time. Chris said the exact opposite. He said he loved it. He loved when he heard it was being played there. I mean, everybody playing around the hoops at golf croquet gives that a bit of workout and makes them more slippery and tests out the hoop approaches because of the golf croquet.
Yep.
So
there's a lot of different views in croquet.
I thought it was a great comment from Chris. It's look at it as a positive rather than negative. With the use on the lawns.
Yep. Lawns get a lot of flack whether they're good or it's good or bad. Lawns are a very personal thing. Each player likes them differently.
Right, and you just got to adjust.
From a spectator's perspective, you can either like watching the heavyweights sit there and sextuple for days, or watch the heavyweights struggle to
make a
get a triple.
Yeah,
exactly right. And it's what you want out of that. And each player's different. I know that my single ball strokes are stronger than my croquet strokes, so I don't mind the lawns being quite tricky, because I can play a decent croquet stroke when I'm in, and I can use a good single ball stroke to get out of trouble. But someone like a Reg doesn't mind a perfect lawn, because it means that he can just walk around, sextuple.
He knows he's only having two turns on the lawn, and the shot you're going to have could be a bit longer than the normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Be interesting with the streaming through My Sport Live is absolutely sensational, and same as what New Zealand did in the golf croquet teams.
Yeah.
And if we're able to continue doing this, it may come to a conversation as what we want to promote at the sport, what looks good out there, to bring our sport to a wider audience, and
absolutely.
I'm not sure if we're going to attract too many players that see errors and unfinished breaks and less tactics because of the lawn conditions. So we've got to get the balance right of being able to use every tactic available to you. Sextuples and TPOs, which haven't really been a feature of the final stage of this event, but it would be good to see.
It's a conversation that comes into cricket quite a lot, because obviously Test cricket is a 5-day onslaught, and if the pitch is dull, it's difficult to watch. But if the pitch is lively,
too fiery,
then you get a shorter,
pretty quick. It's all over.
Shorter match, and
so they've got an equally hard job preparing it for, isn't it? You don't want a test to be decided on the coin toss.
Exactly. Yeah, but we will we will see this come into it, as you said, pretty soon, as events like this get live streamed more, and it is great. I've never been able to come to a croquet venue while watching the match on my phone before. It's absolutely fantastic.
A lot of this thing here on our side of our screen is all the people around the world doing comments, and most of them are actually driving or just listening to it on their phone app rather than watching it. So,
excellent.
we talk like cricket commentators here, we sometimes have to do it for the radio listeners where we're describing where the balls are more accurately and what's happening in the break.
Well, while we talk about that, Reg is looking at the long shot here, so he's got yellow sort of 4 yards off the end of B-bulk on the north boundary, shooting at red, which is a yard south of level with hoop 4 on the eastern boundary, slightly off the yard line. And
So
Matthew's
good
balls,
30 yards, isn't it?
it's
28,
comfortably
yeah.
30 yards. Yeah, this is a long shot. Through this area, you can occasionally see quite a sharp hill from right to left. I've found from sort of behind hoop 2 going up to hoop 4.
Yeah, there's you've got to go over the mound. And,
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't play the shot as much power as yourself does, Edward. So, he's that mound or that hill could move it away a little bit on Reg.
It could, but yeah, you've not much you can do about it. Unfortunately,
no.
You take the shot and hope that if you
Keeps
have
on
it centre
line.
ball,
Yep.
it stays. And we've got the camera angle here to be able to see this. I hope
If we
it
pan out a
stays
little
on.
bit,
Yep.
keep it a bit wider view.
Well, it's well off.
Yeah, it's always on the inside there. Wasn't
Yep.
it, coming down wide.
Yep. Yep. So Essek to have an opportunity to get the first ball round here. The question will be whether he wants to make hoop 1 off partner. It's always quite dicey, but the big croquet stroke popping partner to 2, going to Reg's 2 balls, is probably safer because they are close together and can get a certain rush. But yeah, a couple of choices. You would hope that he'd make the
Yeah, he's
the one to set up his break from the get-go.
yeah.
Yeah. So not going to hit this hard, lining
No,
up
it'd be
with
just a
Irish.
controlled pace, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
try to hit centre ball and keep it as a useful ball.
There's an
Sure.
argument there to hit blue at black and pound black to the boundary. So you've got the angle to get partner all the way to 2,
Two, yep.
going to Reg's balls near corner 4. Or you just play a thick takeoff here, getting blue a bit further down
And towards 2.
and
yeah.
having some
Yeah.
safety in the
Keeping
croquet
it
stroke.
south of 2's always
Yep.
quite good on this break, but you may be playing a croquet shot after 1.
Playing quite a lot into it. That is not there for yellow first.
So I think we're going to get Ben Rothman in the room to share some time with you, Edward, and he was wanting to talk about some of Matthew's lines of play in that. So it'll be good.
Yeah, well, I heard you guys talking about the possible phantom type tactics from Matthew in this game.
Well,
nothing's
I'm yet to
come
see
up.
them yet. I haven't seen them. I don't know if the game's flowed, like an error-free game where it was going to come down to some tactical choices on
Yep.
lifts and.
So just try and get your break
ball.
around
Yeah,
at the moment.
at the moment it's
Yep.
dictated it. So the phantom tactics haven't exposed themselves as yet.
So struggling a little bit in the wind. Touch gusty out there.
No, that came from Matthew himself. He said he had a line of play and some decisions he was going to use against Robin, and he said they're going to be different against Rob, against Reg. So he said, watch, see what happens.
A bit like Shane Warne of of the late 90s.
Yeah,
Coming
yeah.
out with a new mystery ball.
Yeah. So also keeps the pundits really interested to see what
Absolutely.
Matthew's got up his sleeve. And
Absolutely.
so hopefully he can stick this break in and then we can see some of that.
Again, he's taking off into this slippery corner 4
Yep.
here. But if you under take off, you're not entering the slippery stuff.
Yep.
But he's got
that's
that
a good
just
shot.
about right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You'd be comfortable with that cut to the
Yep.
to one. So
Yep.
McMathew's got.
I think
similar
any
power.
player at this level would be pretty happy with
Yep.
that on tricky
Yep.
lawns.
So we have Ben Rothman here, and he's going to join the team.
Hello to our viewers. I'm Ben Rothman, representing the United States. Thanks for having me, Ed.
G'day, Ben. Good to have you along. Not a bad rush to one. Slight cut, not far off centre ball.
Yeah, I think he's happy just to be in play.
Yep.
He's had a long sit on the sideline.
Yep.
Bit of trouble with hoop one earlier.
Yep.
They both seem to be expecting it to speed up any moment. So they've had a bit of under approaches, and there he found the dance
That's-
floor.
Yeah, that's close to over. Will he play this? Is he? Yeah, okay. Looking at Solomon grip, or will he look at a jump here?
I think a jump, which is I think
Okay.
Solomon for him.
Yep.
Oh no,
Oh.
they like the 3/4 roll jump shot. I think he was practicing this, and he found more success with this than the normal jump shot. But we'll see if it pays off.
That's
Oh,
a fantastic shot.
Great result.
Yep.
And
Hard
boom goes the
into
dynamite.
hard into the far wire, getting it to spin up through the hoop.
And that is the black ball.
Oh, okay, beautiful.